Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, The Inked Reader. Today we are doing my March wrap-up. Now I've explained a bunch of times how it works, how I'm doing my shelf TBR, so without further ado, I'm gonna go into the TBR. We're gonna pick a random shelf, then I will attempt to read all the books on that shelf. I am filming this on my birthday, so Saturday 25th of February, which means that I won't do the editing today because it's my birthday. I want to, take the day off without having to do any editing or anything of the sort. So you might see these a couple of days after, but I apologize because usually I stick to at least having a video up by Saturday in the week. But this week it'll be moved a bit farther up because again, I don't want to do any editing, uploading on Saturday. So yeah, let's pick a random shelf. Let's generate a random number. I think it's 21 max. So I'm gonna open up like this, getting out of camera. 13. And then I'll go and take my reading journal where I've plastered on my shelves. Number 13 I've already read. I'm gonna show you the proper shelf, but it's technically speaking, it's my shelf. It's one of the first at the top black shelves, and I've already read all of those books, and there are no sequels I need to read or anything. So I'm gonna generate again. I'm gonna be 19. So number 19 is a shelf that it's at the bottom, which means that it's a special shelf. So rather than reading things from this side of the house, I need to read things from another part of the house. It's like February, where I had to choose books from downstairs, which are mostly my urban fiction / non-fiction books. This time are my white books that are in my room, and there is a book there that scares the living out of me because it's massive, but also I've been wanting to continue with the series for so long. And so yeah, I'm gonna take you in the other room. So this is that you see up there, it's shelf 13, the first pick in the random number generator, but I've already read all of them. Apart from actually the 7 Death of Evelyn Hugo, so I might actually pick that one up. And also King of Ashes, but I don't think I'm gonna pick up King of Ashes just because the other books are massive in the other room that I need to read. But we will see. I'll tell you in a second once I'm done. So here are my white books. I'm gonna do a bit of a close-up and show you the ones that I need to read. But there are probably way more than 10, and I'm gonna pick up just 10. So this one, the Redeemer, I've not read. Murakami, I've not read. Butcher Boy, I've read. If a Cat Disappeared from the World, I've not read. Look Who's Back, I've not read. Everything, I've not read. Philippa Gregory with White Princess, I've not read. This one, Lux, I've read. The trilogy, Nevernight trilogy, I have, but I've not read Caraval. Dean Koontz, I haven't, and I want to read another Dean Koontz, so that's happening for sure. Here I've got Firefight, Steelheart, I've not read. Between Shades of Grey, I've not read. Omens, I've read. The Bloody Project, I've not read. White Hot Kiss trilogy, I've read. Poppy War, I've read, but I need to read The Burning God, so that's happening. And then here we still have another Dean Koontz. And then we've got Gilded Cage, I've not read, and The Way of Kings, I have read. Cockroaches, I don't remember. Throne of Glass, I've read all of it. But I've not read Jonathan Strange and Mr. Morale. I need to read, guys, Words of Radiance, because yes, I've read Final Empire trilogy. Eeny Meeny, I've not read. Arcanum Unbanded, I think it comes, I don't know which point in the saga. There are like novellas, but I've not read. Apologies for the background noise. I've got the bathroom is next door, and there is a fan going there. Sadie, I have read. Tortoise All the Way Down, I've not read. Creed, I've not read. And The Queen of the Night, I've not read. So guys, this is what it looks like with my lovely plants on top. And I need to pick up 10 books out of the I'll attempt to read. Okay, I'm afraid the 7 Death of Evelyn Hardcastle is not happening because I've got so many books that I had not read in my white section of books. First of all, I chose to put them in my room rather than on my bookshelf in here, although I might have space at the moment, because I do want to put a couple of shelves in my room, and my room is blue and white, so I thought it was just the perfect place where to put books that were white, basically. Going through that, I realized that I've got way more than 10, but probably around 15 to 16 books that I still need to read there. But I chose 10, and because I will have also the Fairy Loot coming in at one point, they're always a bit late in the month, I will have to read those in March, or I'll attempt to read those in March as well. So I thought adding the 7 Death of Evelyn blah blah would be too much, considering that I am very busy lately. So I chose 10 that I was most eager to read, and I will again attempt to read them all, but the ones that I don't get around to, we will have to go back. This is the new rule for 2023, where I just put books back, because otherwise they just keep accumulating. So first book I've got here, I chose my Dean Koontz book for the month, and this is Fear Nothing. And I have, as you might know, Dean Koontz wrote my favorite book of 2022. So I wanted to try more by him. And I remember finding this box set with 3 of his novels, 2 of which are part of a series. So this is the first book in a duology or trilogy, I'm not sure. And then there was a standalone, but from the synopsis, this appealed to me the most. And so I chose to start this new series by him. And this is about this man, and he has kind of a condition for which he can't be exposed to sunlight, so he tends to go out only at night, and he is then privy of a lot of secrets going on at night in this town. And I don't know where this is going. I don't know if it's a thriller, or it's a thriller horror, or there is any fantastical elements to it, but I don't want to know much with Dean Koontz. I like to just go in pretty blind and be very much surprised. And then I got Between Shades of Grey. This is a YA, I believe, historical fiction that was very, very popular a bunch of years ago on YouTube, and I acquired it, never read it, but I always wanted to. And I think it takes place during World War II, and they're being deported to Siberia, and you just follow their journey there. Or I don't know if it's a concentration camp or what exactly kind of environment they're gonna go in. I am imagining it's gonna be like kind of like a concentration camp they go to, and I'm expecting tears and heartbreaks from this one, but I was always curious about the hype around this book, and I've heard amazing things about her writing, so it was time for me to pick this up. When I've got a thriller, I felt like I was in the mood. I feel like, I don't know, I want to read a thriller, and I know I've got Dean Koontz here, but one more can't hurt. Hopefully this is the first one in a series of this detective, but in this specific book they're looking at cases where someone is abducting pair of victims, and then those victims are kind of forced to choose if they want to kill the other or die themselves. So it's kind of like, you know, kind of putting them against each other. Whoever survives is free to go, and you follow this detective trying to sort out her demons from her past and also catching the guy. So yeah, sounds cool and sounds like a very great things about this thriller in general, and so I was curious to see. And with thrillers, I like to try the first book in detective series and see if I like the writing, if the formula or like the way the plot is developed works for me, and if yes, then I can continue on with the series. If not, it's just one-off. We will see. Then I've got a historical fiction that I had heard someone review on BookTube ages ago. Again, I can't even remember who it was, and then I bought it and never read it. But this is historical fiction taking place in 1882 in Paris, and it's about these Liliette, I don't know how you pronounce it, and she's a soprano. And she's given a new libretto to study then so she can perform this new libretto, and when she reads this libretto she figures out that it's her story. And so we're gonna go on this memory journey where she recounts her story, what happened to her. I think she immigrated from America to Europe, and she went through a lot of ordeals, and also we need to figure out who wrote this libretto about her. There is a sentence here in the synopsis on the side about the people that could have betrayed her and just put this libretto together, and it says only 4 could have betrayed her. 1 is dead, 1 loves her still, 1 wants only to own her, and 1 she hopes never thinks of her at all. And so I'm curious. I've heard amazing things about these. I'm intrigued about these. We will see. A book that I'm gonna read because I've read the subsequent series where there are a lot of Easter eggs about this one series, and my bad, I had not read the Caraval series before, and I don't know much about these. I've heard that her trilogy, the ones I'm reading in now, which starts with Once Upon a Broken Heart, is better and better written than this. However, I do want to see, you know, where all of the Easter eggs come from, and I really like her style of just telling us the story. I think it's very colorful and I think it's very entertaining. So this is story of Caraval, these 2 sisters that have never left this island. The only kind of thing that I really look forward to is this Caraval that comes once a year, and for a week people from the town or the island are basically participating in this show It looks like a circus. We follow Scarlett. I don't know if you follow both sisters, but here there is written that Scarlett kind of gets along with this performance and she realizes that there is much more to it than just, you know, a circus performance, normal one without magic. So, I mean, from the sequel series, I know that there is probably magic in this. So yeah, I want to read this. I don't know if it's a trilogy or a duology, but we will try this. Hopefully I donate it so I can read these and then continue on with the other one when it comes out. Sorry guys, I changed the angle slightly. Then I've got If Cats Disappeared from the World, and this has such an interesting premise. This is about this man that is diagnosed with a terminal illness and he just have a very little time left to live. But when he gets home, after having this horrible news, he meets the devil. The devil appears in his house, I guess, and he tells him, I'm gonna give you one more day to live of what you would have otherwise. In exchange for that, you have to choose one thing in the world that will disappear forever. And so I think we go on this 1 week journey with this man, trying to figure out what's essential, what's not needed, what can he choose to make disappear in order to have one more day. Honestly, I remember the synopsis was more along the line of, you get to live, basically you don't get to die if you can eliminate something from the world, not just in exchange for one more day, which I don't think is much worth as an exchange at that point. We're gonna see, and it's very short, and probably I need a short book because I don't know if you've seen how massive they are, the books I've chose and the ones that are about to come. Then I've got a book that I don't know what to expect, because actually I've not heard many people talking about these and the reviews were mixed, but I have loved one John Green book in particular, and so I always gave him another chance because of that one book. I didn't mind the other ones, but definitely they weren't as good as the one I loved particularly, and so I'm gonna read Turtle all the way down. Maybe better say I will try to read these. And I think this is about this girl just trying to solve a mystery while at the same time dealing with things in her life. It's very much a contemporary and he does well at them, but they can be very sad. I don't expect this to be so horribly sad, but from the moment I'm keeping my expectation normal, nothing too high, but nothing too low. And then I've got a book that I consider this a humoristic book, like humor, but I don't know exactly what it is. And it's basically the story of Hitler coming back to life in 2011, where things are very different and he has to now adapt, and he eventually ends up becoming a YouTube influencer or a YouTube personality. And I don't know what to expect from these. I'm honestly, though, I like when books like these touch upon like such taboos, if you want. I'm honestly curious to see where this is going. What is this? Is it gonna be funny? Is it gonna be irreverent? Is it gonna be both? None? Is it gonna be horrible? I don't know. I'm reading this though. I'm just thinking, whoever thought that, yeah, let me write a book about Hitler coming back to life. Then I'm gonna continue on. This is divided into parts, so I'm gonna start with the first part, but of course I want to read all of it, and it's but I don't know if I can in March read both, so I might just do March and April the second part, we will see. But this is Words of Radiance, which is the Stormlight Archive book number 2, part 1 in this case. It's an epic fantasy by Brandon Sanderson. It's very popular and famous. I'm not going to attempt a synopsis of this. First of all, the majority of you will have heard about these, and I kind of remember quite well the first book, despite the gap in probably 2 to 3 years since I've read that one. And I just remembered also that these people fight huge crustacean creatures, and somehow it works. I found it a bit weird and not ridiculous, but kind of funny every time the creature came out in book number 1. However, I really loved the plot. I really loved how he was developing that story and all the characters in them. I've read his first trilogy, the Final Empire and so on. I wasn't blown away. I was very pleased. I liked it overall. By the end, I liked probably the middle book best of them all, but I didn't pull my hair out for him. The only time I really felt like that spark was there and I could grow to love this author was by reading The Way of Kings, and especially the end. So I want to continue on with this series, and especially before I can say if I'm really a Brandon Sanderson fan or if I'm just neutral. And finally we have The Burning God. I have to read the final book in this trilogy, which I absolutely loved. Especially loved the first book. The second book I liked, enjoyed a lot, but I didn't love like the first one, and I've heard mixed things about how the series wraps up. I've seen my video of the worst books of 2022. You know that I didn't love the other stuff by Kwang so far, at least. But this is a trilogy that really worked for me. And this is the story of Runin in the first book. I'm telling you the synopsis of the first book. But Runin, she is grown up in poverty. She's adopted by relatives that really don't care much for her. And her best chance is to get in this prestigious military school, where in order to get in, you have to pass a very extremely tough entrance exam. But Runin, by studying a lot and using her wits, she gets in. She gets in and she's there finally to thrive in her military career. However, there is also war coming and the kingdom is a threat, and so Runin will have to deal with that as well, her and her comrades. I loved the first book so much, and I think the difference, what I've noticed thus far, at least compared to Babel, which I didn't like, as you might have guessed from what I just said a second ago about my worst books of 2022, I think the social commentary in these is well handled and is more subtle. It still comes through, but there is a lot of plot characterization stuff that I really genuinely entertained me, while I thought in Babel it was very heavy-handed and the plot and characters and everything just took a step back in order to push to the front the message behind, and the political message, and the message about how history failed a lot of people. And I think the message, which is such an important message, if it's done in a fictional fantasy story, should be more waved in the story, less heavy-handed. It should be integrated well in a story, and I think in the Poppy War trilogy thus far, the first two books was very well integrated. Babel not so much, and I do honestly have great hopes for these. There is a character in here apart from Runin which I love. She's a great character though. Not everybody likes Runin. I like Runin. I like unlikable characters like Runin, but there is another character in here which I really hope for them. I'm just gonna leave it at that. But yeah guys, this is all I'm gonna attempt to read, including also the Fairy Loot books. So yeah, wish me luck. If you're new, I would love for you to subscribe. Stay tuned, because I'm gonna do my TBR with my wrap up for my comics very soon, and I guess a birthday haul at some point, because I'm gonna buy books today, or comics, as a gift to myself, from myself to myself. So yeah, I'll see you next time. Ciao!